Come on. You got to move a
We're
group.
live.
There you go.
For
We're
real?
live. We're rolling.
Started already.
We got my boy AV over here.
Yes, first special guest, Adam Vapnar, is on the show.
Give him a deuce.
Yeah.
Give him a deuce, Adam.
We're having way too much fun. We had
This
to get
is good.
recording right away because
This is, yeah.
Woo! Here we
So,
are.
yeah, we got some subjects to talk about
Mm-hmm.
with you today. So, Adam, a little bit about yourself. Give us your name, your age, where you live. Are you still in high school?
You don't got to give us your address, but
No.
just tell us where you
Close to it, though.
All right. My name is Adam Vapnar. I'm 18 years old. I was born here, I think.
Right here in Minocqua?
Right
Yeah.
here in Minocqua. Lived here my whole life. I'm a senior in high school.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I kind of want to be done with that already, but
Why you say
That's all right.
unfortunately?
Yeah, come on. These are the best years of your life, young
Yeah.
buck.
Why you say
I don't
it like
I don't
that?
like school.
Why not?
It's pretty boring.
Okay.
I have a lot of
It doesn't challenge you enough.
No, I have a lot of good friends, but I don't like the teachers really.
Really?
Mm-mm.
See, if I could go back on high school, like they were some of the best years of my life.
Right.
Like looking back now, but I had that same mindset. When
Yeah,
I was
dude. When
18,
I was
that
18,
wanted
I
to
was
get out of there.
This place.
Yeah.
man.
That's what everyone says. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely looking back on it.
We're old though.
So your senior year,
Yep.
Tell us about your grades real quick. Are you getting good
Yeah,
grades?
Yeah,
Are you
I got
keeping up?
straight A's.
That's
Okay.
my boy. That's
yeah,
my boy.
I think they're not really hard classes though.
Okay.
So I got like autos, foods.
Yeah.
oh, so you're
Gym.
slacking off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This boy's slacking
He's
off.
ready to live on his own though. Like
Yeah.
change that oil, cook that food, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so were you always straight A's?
No. I was always like a math class ahead
Okay.
until about 8th grade.
And about 3 English classes behind.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's how
English
I was.
is not my subject at
Sure.
all. So pretty much senior year's a lot easier
Oh, you speak
'Cause
it pretty well.
because I got like all my hard classes
Yeah,
are
yeah.
out of the way.
Okay.
So senior year's just kind of
Yeah.
the gyms, autos, foods.
Yeah. Kind of have a little
Woodworking.
fun and
Mhm.
woodworking. Dude, woodworking's a good skill.
It is.
Woodworking's very. Shout out Mr. Govak. Shout out Mr. Govak. He's a teacher of mine. He's battling cancer right now.
God bless him.
He was my woodworking teacher in 8th grade, and I took that shit for granted. And I wish I never did, dude, because he was good with woods, dude. And those skills, like, you don't realize, but someday you're going to be working on something in your house, dude. You don't want another man always coming into your house fixing
No.
your stuff. Like,
Right.
you want to be able to fix your own stuff.
Let me tell you,
sometimes.
the tech ed teacher, 7th, 8th grade, and at the school I went to, and we all went to different schools actually, because you were up at the AVW, right? I was at MHLT, and dude, me and my buddy Alex, we were rough in that class. Like he definitely wasn't pumped to have us in his classes the 2 years. Now that we're adults and like I've done some work for him and conversed and whatever, he's like, it's a very different scenario now. But when we were in those classes, man, we were screwing around a lot. And like we were always those kids that he was like, he had to like be like, God damn it, put him out in the hallway or whatever. But man, I tell you what, dude, even in my everyday work, there's a couple skills that he taught me that every time I use it, I'm like, I knew I was going to use this. And I think of him and I go right back to that. So there's a lot of, you can just take away that little stuff. It's just like crazy when you're going through it and when you're in that 7th, 8th grade, you're like, especially in like math class and stuff, you're never like, I'm never going to use this shit. Like, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm using that, So pretty cool. But anyways.
So I was a bit of a fool around. Teachers didn't always like to see me coming. Are you a bit of you fool around a little bit in school?
Not really.
Okay.
Not as much as I used to. For
Okay.
Sure. I definitely have had some incidents at AVW. We had a thing called base camp, which was kind of like the not quite enough trouble to go to the office, but you're kind of right there. So I spent a lot of time in base camp.
He had it figured out where he got in just enough trouble.
Exactly.
But yeah, knew how to push the limit.
I did. I spent a lot of time there.
Boy was in base
Yes,
camp a
yeah.
lot.
Was base camp in the hall or was it like in back?
It had its like in between the classroom area of the school and the office. It was right in the middle.
No
so
kidding.
like the same.
Okay, base camp. I didn't have
Yeah,
no
this
base
is
camp.
like you're walking the line, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kicked you out of class, sent you to the office, or you went to the padded room.
Exactly, pretty much.
There was no base camp. So base camp's in the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you didn't do something too bad,
Right.
you go to base camp.
Yes.
And what did you do in base camp?
Well, we had a teacher there. His name was Mr. Burton, older guy. He would just kind of talk to you real nice.
Okay.
Why'd you do this? Are you okay?
Like a therapy session.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then
This is your chance, buddy,
yeah.
kind of thing.
your life doesn't need to go here,
Yeah.
pretty much. So
you had that deep conversation
Yeah.
with Mr. Burton.
Mhm.
Mr. Burton said, "You keep this
no,
up,
right,
jails, institutions, and death." for you."
exactly.
Yeah.
He'd always give you a little candy.
Okay.
Say, have a good day.
There you go. Hey, I like Mr. Burton.
Yeah,
He seems
I
like
don't
he's
even
got
know the
his
guy.
together.
He
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Did you? So at MHLT then, did you guys have a so-called base camp, or was
No.
it just you're out of the class or you're in the class?
No, it was you were out of class or you were in detention. But to be perfectly honest, I'd never got in trouble enough to experience detention.
I don't
Even
think- yeah.
even in high school, I didn't
Yeah,
get
I
in
don't
trouble.
think I did.
But
either.
like I was a regular in the hallway, cause like I was just had too much energy and talked too much. I was never the one actually causing trouble. I was just like annoying the teacher
Yeah.
more than anything. So it was like, yep, go take your test in the hall. It almost became just like a thing, especially in high school, that like my desk would get moved to the hallway on test day.
be in the hall, just standard. Here's your test. I know where to go. The hall.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I mean, senior year we did start a food fight, or not senior year, 8th grade year before we
Eighth
graduated.
grade, you started a food
Yeah,
fight?
ask your wife about it.
That's epic,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So we were throwing carrots, mashed potatoes, gravy. It was Salisbury steak or whatever day.
Dude, you guys were clutch on the day.
Yeah,
You picked mashed potatoes, Salisbury steak.
Oh, that was
day.
planned.
Oh my
so
gosh.
We made a mess. But you know, I never got in a ton of trouble. So, but my report cards were always like, you know, he's got to quiet down in class, maybe stay on task, you know, whatever. It's like, well, yeah, let's see how that played out. So
Food fight. I think that's the epitome of. I think everyone in high school at some point at least when we were growing up, like that was the coolest thing ever to start a food fight. Is
Yeah.
that still?
No.
That ain't a thing no
So
more.
I want to know. So we're both 30-ish.
Yeah, I'm 31.
I'm 30. Okay, so we graduated high school in 13. You were 12.
12. Yep.
So it's been a decade. And I really can't. We can't explain probably how school was like when, you know, because social media wasn't even that cool or big. I mean, 2012, 13. Yeah, it was like all coming around, but like. From what I've heard from other people, it's kind of like zombie-ish almost. Where like, you know, when it's just so different because
nowadays?
everybody's in their phones and stuff. And yeah, so touch on
Yeah.
how people are, because at lunch and stuff, I mean, we were conversing. I mean, there was so much going on, and just going back to that, I guess, is like, what's it like nowadays when, like, can you walk in there with your phone, or do they take it, or?
So last year there was no phones in the classroom. So in the hallways and at lunchtime you could, and they were always kind of like a problem because some teachers would care, some others wouldn't. But now this year they're not even supposed to be like in the building at all. So you're supposed to leave them out in your car, your locker. So
that gives you more of a chance to socialize and
Yeah.
stuff.
From an 18-year-old senior's perspective, how do you feel about no phones now?
well, the kids that want to break the rules anyways will, regardless.
Okay.
So I don't think it really matters too much. There's definitely some times where it would be like kind of nice to have it, but like I still think it's important to not just have them out whenever, because there's no socialization or
Right.
so I've definitely seen that before too, of like when they were allowed, it'd be kind of sad, like teacher trying to talk or something and everyone's just on their phones. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, like you said, like lunch, like I used to look forward to lunch because if you had some shit to tell somebody, like I was
Yeah.
excited to see some certain people at lunch
Yeah.
to talk about something that happened. And now it's just like you probably already talk about that
Yeah.
on your phone. Like they already know what's going on. So it's like lunch was exciting.
Right.
And not only just for the crappy food, but for the, you know what I mean? For the social aspect. So So now, like, is lunch even cool anymore?
Yeah, I mean it depends.
Dude, lunch was cool.
Yeah, lunch is cool, man.
And
It's
it
alright.
and it depends.
Yeah, it's well, cause kids leave now, so like people can just leave the school,
Oh,
juniors
man.
and seniors. So
Man,
Times are
it's pretty
I
boring.
know.
Do you guys go over to the Quickery a lot at the Quick Trip?
I don't.
No.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
they do.
McDonald's,
Yeah.
McDonald's, Taco Bell,
Yeah.
Subway,
Yeah.
the ones that are right there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So tell us about what have you done for work? What was your first job?
Yeah.
My first job, legit job or like side hustle?
Both.
Let's do both.
Yeah, because we know
Okay.
you're a young entrepreneur. The listeners probably don't, but we're gonna get into that. So let's just let's hear about your career, man, up until 18.
Yeah.
So my younger brother and I and another brother and his younger brother, two neighbors, just started selling lemonade, kind of the usual thing.
What age are we talking?
11,
Yeah. Pretty
Okay,
young.
so 11.
11 or 12
And you guys are over back,
by Walmart.
kind of that
Yeah.
cross between Walmart and 47, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
but I'm not gonna put words in your mouth,
Okay.
but weren't you guys? You guys were trying to. Your septic went out or something, so you were trying to make money.
Yeah.
Was that first
Well,
time?
I don't remember.
that's a good question, like that, because you're a hustler in the modern sense of like, when you need to get it, like you're gonna get it, you're gonna
Yeah.
make it happen, like kind of like Aaron and I
Yeah.
are. So like, yeah, I think he's trying to spark like, the septic went out, funds were down in the house, and like, is that? Do you
I
think
don't-
that like?
I don't really remember, to be honest. I don't really remember how it got started. We just
So you're
We just-
11. You're out there
Yeah.
with your younger brother and your neighbor and his younger brother, and you're slinging lemonade. What's the
Yep.
lemonade going for?
So it was probably like $1, and then we
Dollar.
just started, and there'd be the people like the old creepy dude, he'd be like, "Urgh." Then like the normal people, and we'd be okay. And then it became this thing where one of my dad's friends came and he gave us $20. And
Okay.
it was like, wow.
This
20
dude's
bucks.
dad's a legend too. We're
He
gonna have
is.
him on an episode.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
But keep going.
And then Aaron's mom came to the lemonade stand and she gave us $50.
Oh.
So it was like this big thing, right? And then, it was lacking, just a table, just lemonade.
Okay.
And then Aaron here brought us over to the Walmart. He hooked us up. We got chips, all the cups,
My man.
Dude,
all the lemonade. It was like $100 you spent.
yeah, I'm gonna try and pop a picture up here because I have a picture of them pushing them around with the
Dude,
cart.
I love that. I love that.
We
for
loaded
you,
them up.
and I love that. So
did.
Aaron took you guys over
Yeah.
to Walmart. You got the chips. You got
Yep.
the.
And then I think we ended up like almost $400
Okay.
we got. So yeah, like $380. or
Was this an
something over a
investment on your part or a donation?
It was it was
summer. Donation.
A donation.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
But it was like going back to I think one of the episodes we've already recorded in talking about the young hustler thing. That was me going. These guys are like, let's get them set up.
yeah, like they're out there getting it.
Yeah, they were
Like,
getting
why
it.
wouldn't we support that?
They were getting it. And how much younger is Mason, your brother, than you? 2 years. So
2.5
he's
years.
9.
Yeah.
Right? He's 11 out there, and
And
they're out there grinding, man.
Okay, so you're selling lemonade.
Yep.
And you get up $400.
Mhm.
What did you do with that money?
No idea.
It's
It
gone.
went somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere I have no idea.
If you could take it back, would you save that $400?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I like riding a fine line in my life today. Like, me and my wife have these conversations all the time between saving money and like and that YOLO. You know what I mean? Like the YOLO in the sense that, like, there's so many people, getting cancer and stuff these days and coming down with all these illnesses. Like, that conversation is always like, buy the 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can make ends meet, like, go out to eat a little less or something, and get that thing that, because you only do live once.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, we got to have some money saved for a rainy day, because
Yeah.
stuff does happen.
I think what's important, like, because there's so many people that are far on both sides of this, like
Yeah.
save every penny, and
Yep.
then there's like just blow it like kind of people, but
Yep.
there's like such a happy medium that I'm now finally learning in my life of like putting some money in the right spots for the long term,
Yeah.
retirements, long-term investment type stuff. There's a lot of comfort in knowing that's there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to access, but that if you have budgeted that you're going to put away X amount every month or every year towards this, then you got some long-term like pot behind you, and then you can just, I have fun then, with whatever's left over after all the expenses and kind of like putting some money away. So I think that's important, especially talking to a young guy. I think that's important just for the long game, just so if you do live to be 90, you had thought it through a little bit, but you got to still remember that we're all human and like, you don't know many days and minutes and years you have left. So, living on that edge of like, you know what, do the thing, because you're never going to be young again. And so that great points. There's just
I think one more touch on that, and then we're going to get right back into your work history.
Okay.
One thing to take away. So a wise man once told me, so I think kind of people are like, what is that magic number that I need to have saved? Is it 100,000? Is it 5,000? What is that number to be comfortable? And a wise man once told me it's to start with 6 months of your bills. Okay. So I think for you going forward, and we'll get into, where you're at right now and everything, but 6 months of your bills. So if anything happens, you break a leg, worst case scenario, you're covered for 6 months. Exactly. All your bills are covered for 6 months. And then, like you said, I'm kind of getting goosebumps right now because we didn't grow up like that, but like, everything's covered then. You know what I mean? Like if something bad happens, like you're good. And there's a different kind of peace that comes with that.
Yep, exactly.
There's a different kind of peace that comes with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So $400, we spent it.
Yep.
Lemonade stand went good. Aaron was all about the entrepreneur in you.
Yep.
Where'd we go from there? You're 11. Let's fast forward a little bit. Where'd you go?
Nothing really. Maybe some just like work around the neighborhood.
Okay.
So we had like one incredible burst of like entrepreneurship, and then we kind of petered off.
Yeah, and then once I was 14, to get my worker's permit, I worked at Burger King.
Okay.
Not the greatest job, but it was a job.
Yeah.
My mom was the general manager, so
okay.
I worked there for maybe a year, less than a year. Well, actually, I started mowing the grass there.
At
maybe
Burger
when
King.
I was like 13.
Okay.
So I would go there, mow the grass, and then I started working there.
Okay.
And then I was there for a little bit. Then I left.
All right, let me pump the brakes on that real quick because I want to touch on. So you worked under your mom. How was that?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, all I did was like take orders.
And you were cool with it. You flowed.
She was
okay.
awesome.
That's really good to hear.
His mom's a legend too.
Yeah.
I've never met your mom.
Yeah, both of his parents are legends.
His
in
dad,
this town.
I see your dad at all the sporting events. We get a chat. My wife has nothing but good things to say about your dad. She knows it more than I do.
Okay.
I love my mom. Like my mom's my number one in my life. I don't think I could work for her. I don't think. No. Like we talked about it in that other episode. Sometimes the way my mom says things, sometimes the look on her face, just pisses me off. Yeah. Like I don't think I would be productive. So kudos to you.
I can't wait to get to know your mom someday, and maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe it won't.
Oh, we're gonna get her on a podcast.
Oh, I would love
days.
it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we're gonna bring my mom out. We'll get the whole vibe. Yeah. But Adam's mom doesn't take no shit from anybody.
Okay.
So she probably just ran a tight ship, and Adam's like, you know what? I'm not gonna because this is good.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
okay.
So
you worked for your mom.
Yep.
Oh, you're about to tell us.
Yeah, little story. Us. My second day at Burger King, I was taking someone's order. Comes up to the window, and I forgot to put a straw in his bag. He's just an older gentleman. So he leaves and he comes back around to the drive-thru and he starts screaming swear words, cussing at me. And this guy, I'm not going to name his name, but he was in the kitchen. Little, strange guy, I'll just say.
Okay.
Anyways, he stood up for me. So I went out there, screaming, and but mind you hear it all over your headset. So it was
Okay.
like you didn't see it, but you could hear it. So kind of swore back at the dude, and the guy ended up getting 2 straws and not so nice apology. Just a little story, kind of interesting first experience for sure.
So it's
It's like,
kind
can
of
you
like
imagine getting worked up about a straw?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like
I still
that's what
think
I'm
about
thinking. Like,
that.
yeah, I'd be
Uh-huh.
kind of pissed too. Like, I'd want a straw with my soda, but also it's like you got that worked up. How long do you sit in line again? Is what I'm
Right,
questioning.
Like, and if you're getting mad about not having a
take the
straw,
lid
like,
off.
Yeah.
where are you at in life?
yeah, and like, are you okay?
that's my
You need to talk.
Dude, that's my thing nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
if someone's getting worked up about that, like, I try to take a second within myself to realize, like, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Like, they're mad about some other stuff because there's no way you're. Some people are just mad about a straw, like that mad. Like,
Yeah.
there really are people like that. But most of the time, it's like, dude, I know you're not even that mad about this straw. Like, something's going on with you. I'll pray for you. Is like how I look at it now.
I actually cut the grass at Burger
Really?
King for years.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah. Your mom got me the contract
Nice.
when I was doing landscaping and maintenance and stuff.
So we got to talk
Yeah.
more about that too at one of these times.
Yeah.
Because kind of our backgrounds too, people are gonna
Yeah.
want to know about that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of cool. Both entrepreneurs kind of starting out cutting BK's grass.
Yeah. So
I
tell
didn't
us.
know that.
Yeah. Probably before you were cutting it.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So he's 14.
Yep.
You got your work permit. You worked at BK about a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell us where it went from there, and was that was your first lawn account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. I'll come back to that later. After Burger King, I went to Alexander's Pizza
Yeah.
downtown. Had a great boss, great people. I learned a lot from Andy. He was a fire chief with Minocqua for a while, so I've known him since I was little, and he's taught me a lot for sure about business life. So I worked there for 2 years,
Okay.
and then I left, and then I came back. So I was there for a while, up until last year.
Okay. So why did you? So the Andy you said that he's the owner.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would work with him there, and he would just kind of coach you
Yeah.
on some like
Yeah,
business
for sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you always have that? Because I'm going to ask you the same question, and then I'm going to share my, as if I was at the question. Did you always have like a want to run your own business type thing going on inside you?
Kinda. I never have liked listening to other people.
Okay.
So I kind of do the same thing now with the fire department and some other things. Like, that may not sound right, but like if a person I know doesn't have experience or not really qualified, they try to like tell me to do something, it's like, hold on, no. To keep it.
You know, honestly, that was the root of me too.
That's the 18.
Yeah.
That's the 18. That's the fighter in you.
Yeah.
That's that question everything.
Yeah.
That's that question everything thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, let's hear. I want to hear some comments from our viewers on this particular subject right here, of questioning everything, and like, did you always have that? Like, because I know a lot of people I went to school with, like, some people would just listen whatever they're told to do.
Yeah.
Just do it, and I always felt
Yeah.
a different way about it. Like, I was question why do you want me to do that? Or what's the purpose behind that?
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. It's like almost a deep rooted thing. And it comes from a place of like not being, because I know where Adam's coming from. It's very much how I was. It's not like anti-establishment kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it comes from a place of having your own ideas, your own creativity with
Right.
how things
Yes.
should be or,
Yeah.
or work or look. And I think that comes from a place of being a leader
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
like, say, a follower.
Yeah.
I think that's really what that's rooted in, because that's how I was too when I was young.
Yeah. And I don't think, like, if you know this kid, like, and if you ever hung out with him, like, it is not at all from a place of disrespect.
No,
Like you said, it's not a,
it's a leadership.
it's not a F the machine kind of thing. It's a, it's just a, he sees possibly, and like we see, like when we're told to do something, we might see a more efficient way to do it, or a different way to do something. And it's like, yeah. So I think that's a common thread probably in entrepreneurs. Let's hear, let our viewers comment. Like, is that something
and,
like you?
Yeah. So Austin, what was your? Were you always
Question everything.
entrepreneurial from
Question
day one?
everything. My report cards were always. This is early on too. Grade school, middle school. Great kid, super smart. Talks back. You know what I mean? Like, you tell him to do something, he's like, why?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of, talks too much, needs to focus in a little more. Kind of ADHD to the max.
Yeah.
And never felt really challenged in school. There's very few subjects that, I did most, I was a straight A student too until my senior year of high school, which we'll talk way more about that when we talk about life paths. But I got those grades by studying for a test 5 minutes before the test, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I never had to go home and study for 3 hours it just kind of came natural. Like, and I'm not saying I'm some whiz or, you know what I mean? There was a lot smarter people out there than me, and even a lot smarter people I went to school with, but stuff came easy to me, so I never felt challenged. So I always was looking for more, to
Exciting.
stimulate me.
Yeah.
Yeah, more excitement, more,
Yeah. I like that.
So, you talked a little about the fire department. So 14 Burger King, then Alexander's for 2 years, then you left Alexander's, and then you came back to Alexander's, which is an awesome pizza joint here locally.
Yes.
Best in town.
So, where do we go from here? So back to Alexander's.
Yep.
This whole time, are you kind of doing stuff with the fire department? Because I know you're active with them now.
So when I was 14, I joined Minocqua Fire Department.
Okay.
Till I was about 16. So the whole time being involved there. And then last January, I broke my leg.
Okay.
So, like you just touched on, having money saved up for that. So, I broke my leg and I didn't work till like April. So, then I didn't go back to Alexander's.
Okay, so didn't go back to Alexander's. So now we're almost current with your timeline. So my question is to you, because this is how I actually met you. I didn't meet you through Arin. I didn't know you had.
Yeah.
So I met you through AV Lawn Care.
Yeah.
So how did that start for you?
Yeah, and where does that fit in?
Yeah. So, while I was still at Alexander's,
So what are we talking, like 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
16. Yeah. Or like 2023.
Okay.
Beginning of 23. So, I had done some other side work for an employee's at Alexander's, her brother, doing just yard work and stuff.
Okay.
And I just started it. So I had a truck. I bought a trailer, a 5x8 trailer for $800. Bought a lawnmower and just a weed whacker and a leaf blower. And while I was still at Alexander's, just like doing like maybe like 5 or 10 yards that first like year, and then it really, like, towards the end of the summer just kind of like picked up. And then once I broke my leg and stuff, I didn't go back. I knew I'd have enough work just with the lawns and stuff. So
You didn't go back to Alexander's.
no.
So summer of roughly 16 years old, 2023.
Yeah.
You buy the equipment to start doing lawns. You're working at Alexander's. You're doing lawns on the side.
Yeah.
You break your leg at the end of that summer.
Like beginning 2024.
Okay, so the
So,
following
like,
year's
yeah,
summer.
Yeah.
So you tell Alexander's, look, I got enough work now. Because kind of how were you advertising right away?
Facebook. Started on Facebook, and then just like a lot of word of mouth stuff too.
Okay.
So like friends would help get jobs for me.
Okay.
Like just from people they knew. So that definitely got my foot in the door for sure.
Okay. Yeah, very good. So, we're not, I think they call them gatekeepers. We're like people that don't want to share how they got successful, or like we're not that at all. Like we want to share this stuff. Like we want everyone that has that dream to be able to take from us and utilize those tools. So yeah, Facebook was big, and that was big for me as well. And kind of like you said, the word of mouth after you start doing quality. And I got a funny story. Your early business, was it Facebook too, a lot of it, or what were you doing for advertising
with the graphics stuff?
Yeah,
Facebook, word of mouth, and my biggest advertising was doing good work for somebody, and then it getting put out into the world. So I think that's the lesson here too on that front, is like you got to start somewhere. If you got one lawn, you already got somebody advertising for you. Right. So do good work, take care of the customer, always do your best, and that's going to go farther than anything. And when you screw up, make it right. Because then they talk even more about it. Oh, that guy screwed up and he came back and he did it right.
Right.
So word of mouth, and then promotion, authentic promotion, which is basically word of mouth, but like people who are your buddies or whatever might not necessarily be your clientele, but they're fans of you and they want to support you, so they're spreading the word to their parents or whoever they hear of that needs work. So that's really important too. Just being I actually today I read something and I figured this was going to come up, but it was somebody was talking about promoting business, and they said always promote, never slander. So the idea there is like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. So I think that really just comes to you do good work, it's going to spread, because people aren't going to talk about it if it wasn't good work. And if it wasn't good work, they're probably going to even talk negative about it, which is not going to get you very far, especially with the word of mouth advertising. Right. So the idea here is do good work. Put good work into the world, and you're going to, it's going to give you more back.
So I was extremely picky.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
It wasn't so bad compared to other people.
Okay, so I remember some of my biggest growth moments in my business. Oh, and then I got another story where I ran into you in Culver's. And you're like, yeah. So some of my biggest growth moments in business were when a customer would call me out on something. Like I did a driveway and one edge was a little sloppy, and I would get that text the next day. Like they would pay me and stuff, but then the next day would be, I'd get a picture and a text, and my heart would like sink. Like, oh God, don't tell me. And they would say this, I'd like to see this edge a little cleaner. My first reaction would be anger. You know what I mean? I'd be like, you, who do you think you are? My second reaction would be to take a deep breath and be like, okay, this is an opportunity to make, long story short, I would go end up fixing the edge. And now in my subconscious, both edges of every driveway I do are going to be money. And a guy that I did work for one time that I went back and fixed some stuff, he told me, this guy was mega rich. And he's like, these little details are what's going to set you apart from everyone else trying to do this. He said, anybody can put a driveway in. I'm like, well, that kind of hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, not like I do it. You know what I mean? I like to think of, but he's like, these little details are what is going to set you apart. And I didn't want to hear it at first, right? Like I said, my first thing was anger.
Yep.
But these little details, these tight edges, where you come up to a concrete apron, that smooth transition, like all these little details are what's going to make people come to A+ driveway grading and land clearing time and time and time again. So I remember just kind of like, I'd nitpick your work a little bit because, and I didn't do it for, we don't have a prestigious lawn. No. Our lawn is small. I did it because I knew I got better from people doing that to me. And I could, here's a young guy out there trying to do business. So I would go outside and like find things to nitpick. You know what I mean? Like there's some long grass along the fence here, like 4 blades. Like, and I would tell him about that. You know what I mean?
Austin's every young entrepreneur's worst nightmare.
I knew it was pissing you off. Maybe it didn't, but like, then I knew every time you would come back, like, you'd be thinking of that edge.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then you just, like, slowly, those extra details become just how you do things. And, like, all of a sudden, AV lawn care, like, don't let anyone else touch your lawn. Like, this is the guy you want on your lawn.
Yeah.
So,
It's building
and you
goes
got
back-
story. Yeah, I mean, that's how
It goes back to building character, man.
Yeah. We talked in our other podcast about, you know, how the vinyl that you used that one time, and then you just called me back. And, like, that's how me and him got close.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know him. He wrapped the four-wheeler, and he called me back and was like, hey, this vinyl I used wasn't the best vinyl. Like, bring it back. I'm going to rewrap it. He did it. Dude, and we've been friends ever since. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's solid.
Yeah.
So,
Because
yeah,
that's what you do. You do the right thing, it's just going to work out every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's my
it does.
philosophy.
So, break your leg, but so for that summer, were you still running AV lawn care then? Okay, so
Yeah,
who's with you on this?
So I did a lot of it by myself.
Okay.
And then on like a bigger job, like a bigger leaf cleanup, I'd have to bring a friend in. And then last summer I needed the help, so I brought one of my friends on who helped me like every day for the whole summer.
Okay.
So yeah, I definitely could have gotten by myself, but I wanted to also enjoy my summer, so
Sure.
yeah.
I think that's a really good point to touch on for a minute, kind of that balance, kind of that work-life balance. Even when you are in high school, even when you're young and starting out, kind of having that time for, like, nothing's more valuable to me than time with my wife, my dogs, or my family. Like, nothing on earth means more to me than that time. Like, but I also I have to make money. So it's like finding that balance. You know what I mean? And I think we've all overdone it at times.
Oh yeah, and I think there's the right time and right place to overdo it.
Sure.
Elon Musk says there's nothing significant in this world has ever been built on a 40-hour work week.
Sure that.
So like there's the time and there's the place for it. I think when you're first starting out and if you're trying to build something significant, there's definitely, you know, that always tired, like, you know, you got to be tired, you got to grind through it, and you got to put some things on the back burner to really make it happen, especially when you're limited on resources, and resources start coming in and you're trying to feed the business and grow it. You're chewing up those resources fast,
Right.
So a lot of people just can't sleep because they're fighting those demons, but you know, it always ends up being something great and something spectacular.
Yeah.
But like I said, and once you get the ship, you know, tuned and everybody's in their place and it's working and it's flowing, then maybe you could start thinking about where you're balancing and you know, your time and stuff. But I think there's definitely a time and a place for balance to come in. I think right out the gate, you know, trying to build a business is not necessarily the time to think about balance. But it all depends on your perspective of how you're going to build the business. And like I said, if you're trying to build something spectacular, going back to the Elon Musk thing, is like if you're new in a sector or there isn't a sector and you're trying to create the sector, especially if anything of significance, you know what I mean? Service-based businesses could be a little different, I guess, but yeah, and everybody has their own vision and plan of how they want their business to look over time, and how many people they want to have in the operation, and how many systems they want to be in place that aren't managed by the main guy.
Yep.
So to each their own, but that's just like another angle of But definitely work-life balance is important.
Yeah,
because you'll drive yourself mad if you.
Saving up to start my business when I had first met my wife 4 years ago or whatever. So at 5 years, 4 years, 16-hour days were pretty normal. They were, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, there's definitely that. And you know, even today, like when I wake up and I get in my tractor and I start doing a driveway, I want to make sure I'm the first person up that morning doing a driveway that morning. I want to be the first person grading gravel.
I hate that I got to get up and go to the bathroom, but I do bad.
Well, go, because we're going to roll.
Yeah,
We're gonna
you guys just keep going.
Dude doesn't know to take a break or bathroom before.
Counts now.
Yo, what up? We're back, folks.
Put your phone down.
Yep.
So, what was that question that I'd asked you? I had asked you, last year
Yep.
you did some big numbers. And I'm just going to kind of reiterate. Like, you started doing numbers that most high schoolers never see that kind of money coming into an account.
Right.
And 2 years previous, you were working at Alexander's, just bought the lawnmower, just bought the weed whacker, the $800 trailer. Did you see it growing like that?
Not at all.
Really? You really didn't see that?
No.
Talk to me about
like
that.
I said, more of just like a side hustle thing, like on the side would do it. And then the phone kept ringing. I guess to put it simple, like it just got enough work. So I left and we got 45 accounts or so, which may not seem like a lot, but
That's a lot of accounts.
Yeah. So
yeah, when it's two guys, I know what that's.
And
like.
you're cutting bi-weekly.
Weekly, bi-weekly. It's and a lot of them are more expensive lawns. So
Yeah.
and then all the stuff aside from the lawns, blowing
So-
leaves and
So you kind of just saw it as, and I'm going to ask you the question in a second. So, like, when you first started, you kind of just saw it as, like, a little extra spending cash. And you kind of enjoyed doing it. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
it. I like
Yeah.
riding on the lawnmower, cutting grass. It's peaceful most of the time. You know,
until you like suck a grill cover out.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he did cut my grill cover. Sucked the whole thing up.
I got it on video too.
And
It's
he texts me.
hilarious.
There's a hole in your grill cover.
Yeah, it's shredded.
Dude, it is. I mean, the thing was slashed.
Yeah. There's a hole.
And he did the good thing, and he lost money that day, but he
did.
brought me another grill cover.
I did.
That is awesome. He did the right thing.
He did the right
It always
thing.
works out.
Yep. So when you first started doing, you've had other business adventures too, and when we get into your life, we're gonna talk. I mean, we're diving into all of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the most recent, the graphic design and the Always Tired Ink.
Yeah.
When you started that, did you know it was gonna be big? Because I mean, you're doing numbers.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you're doing a lot of money's coming in and out of that account. Did you know it was gonna look like that?
It's a hard question for me to answer because I don't want it to come off as cocky. But yes, like because I've done so many other businesses and other things in my life that didn't work out, all leading me to this point. There was just like a different level of confidence when I started this and it, like started getting it rolling. And I always knew that creatively I had something to offer. And a lot of the other businesses that I've done or started that didn't work out or did work out and I needed to move on from were not like a creative outlet too. So I think that was the big difference here, was that this is very much a reflection of me, this business.
This isn't a dead end thing.
Right.
Those other things kind of had artistic block, like dead ends.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so like, my mom probably told me years ago, I don't know who told it to me, but I'm sure it was my mom. She's like, you'll know your path as soon as you walk upon it.
Love it.
And like that's
Your mom.
Yeah.
Mom said something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was her.
Yeah.
But like I knew it as soon as I came across it.
So yeah, I think a big part of success is believing that you will be successful.
Yeah, and then just understanding that so much opportunity is going to come in and out of your life, and like learning how to channel it and divide it in your head, because like not every opportunity is a good opportunity.
Yeah.
But also like you don't throw enough things at the wall, nothing's ever going to stick either. So there's like a very, like the work-life balance thing, there's like a very, very big balance between taking opportunities and letting opportunities slide. And I, going back to like, I knew my path when I came across it, was like I threw enough darts to be like, okay, now I see it. But what's interesting is like he's doing some stuff now, which we can get into. You're going to school, you're going to college.
Yeah.
So you've had your first business transaction.
Yeah.
Which not a lot of 18-year-olds deal with. I'm not sure, how intensive that process was for you, but somebody has acquired AV Lawn Care, from what I understand.
In the process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's an exit. I would consider an exit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's going into the next sector of his life or section of his life, which would be college, summer leading up to college, and that's going to bring a whole new world. I can't wait to see how Adam's life plays out. But let's talk about that a little bit. You don't have to get too deep into like the transaction of your business, but tell us about that. Tell us about what you're going to school for.
So,
because that's going to lead you right
yeah.
into what's possible and where you're going.
Yeah.
So my guy I hired to work with me last summer, his name's Noah. You know him.
Yes, sir.
He, I was originally just gonna sell the equipment and then just the accounts, but they just have to find someone else. And he had this idea, pretty much was like, let me take it over. And so him and one of his buddies are doing that. So they're gonna take over the accounts. They're gonna keep the name, cause I kind of said like if you change the name, you're not guaranteed to keep the accounts, right? So we're gonna see how that goes. I have high hopes for both of them. I think they'll do well. So
yeah, so they're
it's kind of scary, but
yeah, so they're giving you a little money up front as down payment, say,
Yep.
and they're gonna pay you out over time a little
Yep.
bit as these accounts make them some money.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, I mean, it's like it could have been a $5,000 deal, it could have been a $10 million deal, and it would have been the same way.
Mhm.
You know, that's how deals work. So it's very legitimate, and I'm excited for them and their future of what they're going to do with it. So that's Adam's exit of the lawn care world at 18 years old. Now he's going to college. What made you decide to go to college instead of build the AV empire?
That's my question.
Yeah, so like I said, my dad has always been on the fire department.
Okay.
So growing up, I was always around the fire station. And like I said, when I was 14, I joined the fire department in Minocqua, and then when I was 16, I went to Woodruff. That's where I am now. And it was basically trying to, do I just continue the mowing, which I knew could, well, I didn't know how far it could go, but it could definitely always get bigger. But it just didn't, like, it was fun, but it doesn't, like, it's not really what I thought, like, my purpose was.
Yeah, so it wasn't his path. Yeah.
I am leaving to go to Fox Valley Tech in Appleton to be a firefighter, paramedic.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of been
Chasing his lifelong passion.
So
Pretty
kind
much.
of
It's a really interesting like blend of like wanting to
Yeah.
be an entrepreneur and wanting to be like in a municipal emergency service.
right, and I think, you know, like you said, it's kind of like what?
What's so intriguing about this, because I know like how much of a go-getter this gentleman is.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, his name is Brett. He lives in Rhinelander. He's a full-time firefighter there
Okay.
because they got a paid department in Rhinelander.
Yep.
And he has built a massive lawn care empire because the schedule that he's on. It's like 48 on, like 4 weeks off or whatever. You know, that was a little exaggerative, but it's like very interesting where he's been able to build a really incredible business.
Yeah.
So to see what Adam's going to do with that when he gets out of school is going to be really exciting.
And who knows, Appleton might be getting a new lawn care company. So we'll see.
Oh. Okay.
Very cool though that we got an 18-year-old here that's
Selling
experienced
his
quite
first business.
Yeah, and experienced quite a few things.
Yeah.
Learned a lot probably through the process. Decided where his heart's at and what he's gonna go do for his career.
Yeah.
And lock into that. What do you do for fun? What's besides being an entrepreneur and a firefighter? What are you doing on the weekend?
I like to go to the gym.
It shows.
Been slacking lately for sure.
Yeah.
But
so
what gym you go to?
So let me touch on this a little bit. Adam, I've known Adam since he was little.
Okay.
And his brother Mason.
Okay.
Since he was little.
And we used to be rough with each other. I mean, I knew them when I was 16, 17. You know? So it's like I was the big brother. We're beating each other up, running around, jumping on each other, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I had gone without seeing Adam. I mean, it had to been months or something. And he walks up to me one day, and I'm like, I will never fuck with you again. I'm like, yeah. There was just that shift, man, where I'm like, all right, yep, it's over, buddy. Because, like, he's just, like, yoked up.
Yeah,
and I'm
this
like,
is
what
no longer
the hell?
just natural
Yeah.
strength. Like, he's hitting the gym.
Yeah. I'm like, yep, nope. We're done playing, buddy.
No more friend wrestling. That's really funny you say that. I had a friend just like that growing up, and we're still friends to this day, but we would wrestle all the time. And when he came back from his first tour in Iraq from the Marine Corps, there was no more play wrestling.
Yeah, no.
It was the same, like, okay,
Yeah.
we can do everything else we used to do,
Yeah.
but play wrestling is done
Yep.
because you are a killer now.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
boy will kick my ass.
I'm just so excited to see how these guys' lives play out. I'm sure there was people in our lives when we were young that were like, I can't wait to see what this guy does in his
Absolutely.
life or whatever. But he and his brother are very well rounded. They've got a great family, and we had a lot of fun growing up, man. We had a lot of fun, all of us, and being friends with both them and their parents was a very unique situation, you know. So I don't know, man. We got into some stuff. We had a lot of fun. We obviously did some entrepreneurial things. His dad and I have been to some concerts together.
That's for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back. Yeah.
When little man's not around. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
So I don't know if you want to touch on your personal life too much, but you have a girlfriend.
Yep.
And she's an extraordinary basketball player.
Yes.
Okay, who's your girlfriend?
Christina Womet.
Oh, well, Matt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
my wife and I went and watched almost
Yeah.
all the home games.
So
Very good.
yeah, so
Yes.
that's why Adam's just like kind of taking it easy because he knows he's got a full ride the rest
Yeah.
of his life with
No,
her.
no.
She's freaking.
Okay, so you got the girlfriend. For fun, you said you go to the gym.
Yep.
What else do you do? Do you party?
No.
You don't party.
I've definitely experienced some things, but
Okay.
I do not party.
Okay, so not a big drinker?
Nope. Not
Don't
at all.
smoke weed?
No.
None of that
Nope,
stuff?
Nope.
Well, good for you, man. Well, how do you stay away from, like, where do you, talk to me.
It for me
Talk
it's,
to us, buddy.
it's like having a good set of morals and a belief.
Okay.
So for me that's in Jesus.
Okay.
So we don't have to get too deep into that, but
Well, yeah, tell us a little, though.
I believe and try to follow that, and like with everything, there's ups and downs in my faith for sure, but that has definitely set me apart the most. Like the thing that's like, okay, like I was doing this stuff before, but I'm not anymore because of him.
Okay.
I guess is to put it in the most simple way.
Very good. So, yeah, your faith kind of keeps you
Definitely.
in line where you kind of recognize, like, look, that overindulgence.
Yeah.
Adam's
that-
ahead of his years, man.
Right.
Like, yeah, you gotta. Some people just know better. Some people gotta try some shit to know better. Like,
I did not know better.
it's like, dude, it just like the composure that Adam brings here, and you just know there's a lot of good going on there.
I love
Because if you can refrain like that, and I mean, not let anybody tell you different or influence you at that age, you got something
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah. No matter what you believe in, I think when you're able to build your blocks of who you are on something as solid as Jesus, or like I said, whatever else you believe in, like if you're able to start your foundation on something solid,
For sure.
things are looking on. You know what I mean? Because like you said, the ups and downs, it always feels like sometimes like the structure up here is parts of it are collapsing, parts of it are decaying, parts of it are, but as long as we always have that foundation in something, and for me too, it is, it is God for me. That's my building blocks. Like when I'm crumbling up here, like I know my foundation's solid. So it's like, we can remodel at any time. You know what I mean? Like, but I was not like that. I had zero faith.
Yeah.
I didn't have any faith. I wasn't really raised around the church. I mean, that's just it. And I think there was a culture of drinking. I mean, like in the moment, it seemed like, well, that's just what everybody's doing. Everyone's doing it, and then as an adult, I'm able to step back and look a little bit. Well, not really, everyone really wasn't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just the people I was surrounding myself with that were doing it. I mean, there was still a good percentage of people, I'd see at house parties and basement parties and stuff like that. But as far as like, really getting drunk and stuff, there really wasn't a lot of us, percentage wise,
Right,
but
right.
in that moment it feels like, well, this is just what everyone's doing.
Exactly.
But you went to Lakeland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you were there a decade ago, what was kind of that?
Yeah, and interestingly enough, is like I definitely followed Adam's path more like through high school and stuff, and then your path out of high school, like
Okay.
right out of high school,
Okay.
So a little different, I guess, is like I don't even think I had my first beer till I was 19.
Okay.
So like I wasn't a part of the partying in high school or anything.
Okay.
Because I was building my first landscaping business or lawn mowing business a
Okay.
senior in high school.
Okay.
And then
And through that early time, what were you rooted in that kept you? Because I'm sure there was people doing it, like people partying and stuff that you knew and liked, and maybe like what kept you from that?
yeah, I think what kept me from that was like I was cool enough to be in with all the cool kids, but not cool enough where I was like invited and stuff. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay.
Where it's like I was in the mix, but I was always the last one to get called. Like people were always doing stuff already and whatever.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of like popularity issue
Okay.
or like outcast issue. I was never in the mix.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I was always just kind of like doing my own thing. So I guess that's what really just kept me disconnected from it almost.
Okay.
Then when I went to, the summer before in college and stuff, it was like, then we started cranking it up a notch.
Yeah.
And some house parties and
Mm-hmm.
got pretty wild. I only drank 3 years of my life, but I drank hard.
You made up for lost time.
Oh yeah. So,
Yeah.
I guess that's really it.
And stay tuned, boys and girls, because we're going to be going so in depth
Yeah.
on these stories and stuff to help, the next person in line, someone that's struggling for something. Look where we are now, dude. We're in this guy's castle right now. Mm-hmm. You realize? I mean, we're in this dude's castle, like toys and just like a space to be free and like.
Yeah.
So to come, you know what I mean? To get where we're at, this is amazing. So yeah, your foundation just kind of in that you have a solid foundation. You're going to Fox Valley. Correct me if that's right next to UW Oshkosh, isn't it?
I don't know. I know they're close.
You're going there and you don't know where it's at.
Well, no, because the tech is in Appleton, so Oshkosh is just right there, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's like 15 minutes, maybe.
So
20 minutes.
When I went to UW Oshkosh, I think there was a building there that we did have some tech students staying at, but then there was a bus every weekend that you could get on to come party at Oshkosh.
Short bus.
The party bus, dude. They would drop you off for the weekend at Oshkosh, and then they'd take you back to tech.
Wow.
Yeah, so just stay firm.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's going to be a lot of temptation. Like you said, you got a really good girlfriend. You got a really good family structure, so you got these things. But I mean, there will be temptations. I mean, you're going to meet people that, you know what I mean, just smoke at one time. You know what I mean, and
Just stay off the crack, buddy. That's all we're telling you.
don't smoke crack.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man.
Dude, I'm so excited for this.
That's
young man.
exciting. So
He's got a whole life ahead of him.
So the business is going to be completely sold.
Yep.
You're hands off. Help them a little bit because they're friends of yours this summer, and they better pay you, right?
Yep, they better. You better.
You better pay it. No.
pay.
So, and then going to Fox Valley. So that program, is that a 2-year program? Okay, so a 2-year program.
Yep.
And you made a comment about lawn care in Appleton. Tell us tell us what's going on in your mind right now.
So his point was that his full-time friend in Rylander, they have like some crazy shifts. So like you could work 2 days and then have 4 days off.
Yeah.
So I've been to like a lot of departments, and a lot of the guys are like construction. They have their own construction companies or drywall or whatever. So who knows?
you made the comment earlier too, like, okay, lawn care really wasn't your passion. Like running a business, we talked in the other packet, customers number one, like all that stuff was what really was your passion, you know? So do you think you would roll into something again, maybe like a hands-off lawn care where it's your company, but you just won't do it? Or do you have some other things in mind? Like,
I don't really know. I haven't thought about it too much, to be honest.
okay.
I got a lot of schooling to get done before that, so I don't know. It would definitely be fun though.
So is it Arin that suggested Appleton Lawn Care?
No, he said something, but I was just pushing towards the idea of like you could be a full-time firefighter and a full-time business owner.
Absolutely.
But I think I don't know. Adam's a smart man.
Yeah,
he's gonna come up with something good.
Yeah,
because he can't sit on his butt for 4 days and then work for 2. I mean, he's not that kind of guy.
Right. I think that's a really important part about our faith, is whether it's lawn care or working at Burger King, that we carry that with us and we show that to other people, right? Like that's our main, for me today, like that's part of my main purpose is like being a good person. You know what I mean? And if I'm not doing something, it's really hard to be a good person for someone else. So yeah, just staying busy, you know? Yeah.
Staying busy and just doing the right thing.
And doing the right thing.
Trying to put good into the world.
Yeah.
Who instilled that? Who instilled the good morals in you?
My dad.
Yeah.
My mom. Those 2 people for
yeah,
sure.
It shows.
Most important people.
I didn't even have to ask that. I was asking for the
Yeah.
I very much know why he is the way he is. He was raised right.
That's awesome.
And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're raised right or not. It does take a lot from within to be a good person, too.
100%.
So, like, I'm not discrediting what
100%.
he's done. You know what I mean? But I know what his family's like. And
Yeah.
So where is your girl going to play ball?
UW Green Bay.
UW. Oh, so right
Close.
next door.
Yeah.
Works
Oh,
out
that's perfect.
Yeah.
So is she? So UW Green Bay, what division are they?
1.
They are Division 1. So do you think she will stay there for her 4 full years, or do you think so? Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So she's gonna rock the house down at Green Bay.
We'll have to go down and watch a game.
Absolutely.
Vapnar, get us some tickets.
Yeah, you have no excuse not to be at her games.
No. I'll be there.
Especially if we're there.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you got some big things happening. When is this?
I'm starting to feel like my life's insignificant.
What are you talking about?
No, for real.
You got, dude. Look at the podcast. Yeah. This is awesome.
It is.
This is great.
How do you feel to be the first guest on our podcast that's someday going to be just huge?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I messaged him. I was like, if you ever need any help with it or want a guest, let me know. Just like as a joke. And he's like, 4:00 Sunday.
Yeah, there's an old saying that it goes,
He did too. I wasted no time. Well, I just computed in my head so quickly what caliber kid this is.
yeah.
And I already knew your connection with him. I'm like, 4:00.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
I just laid it on him.
The whole idea is like minimizing the time between idea and execution. And that was another quote that I read years ago. And like, I try to implement that in my life a lot. People think that I create things real fast and whatever. It's like, yeah, I've got a lot of tools to do it. But also like, I don't waste any time when I have an idea to just execute on it. And that's what I appreciate about Austen so much. He does not even blink an eye before he executes on something. Like, sometimes he's like, I am on my way to your shop right now. And, you know, with the other day with the notebook, he was sitting here for 4 hours while I was working. And that was after, you know, calling me 30 minutes earlier and being like, I'm stopping by, I got an idea. He's freaking writing notes and all this stuff. And then the tube came of it.
Yep, it did. It did come of that. So good stuff.
Very minimal time between idea and execution. So I'm not surprised. We had to have a little delay, and we're now filming it the next day just because we had a pretty crazy ice storm going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you say? I'm gonna ask both of you. What would you say to a high schooler that wants to start his own business? What would be like 2 things you would tell him?
Make sure you got enough money in case it doesn't work out.
Okay.
So leave yourself a cushion of money for sure.
Okay.
You don't need the fanciest stuff to start off, right?
like
So
that.
like, little smallest trailer I could find, bought like just a normal lawnmower. So you don't need the nicest stuff. And research before you start anything. So understand it, the possibilities, the things that could go wrong before you just like start buying equipment, making a name and stuff. So like, get smart with it. Get the insurance figured out.
Insurance.
Yeah,
That's a
'cause
big
that
one.
can be tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's important to everyone listening. And then I'm going to ask you that same question because I want to hear your take on it too. For everyone listening, before people are working on your property, make sure they have
Yes.
insurance. Do not let anyone on your property to perform lawn care, driveways, electrical work, unless they have insurance. That's so important, especially in this day and age. Really great little piece of advice. Yeah, you don't have to have the nicest stuff. My first tractor for A+ driver grade was a 1989 Yanmar.
I don't even know what that is.
It had a shuttle shifter. That was my first tractor.
No kidding.
That's what I started with.
No kidding.
Yeah, I bought it for $5,000. I saved up, bought that tractor. It leaked. Had to keep adding hydraulic oil to it, but it came with the box blade, and that's what I started with.
No kidding.
Yep. And I would have to get off and crank. So to tip my box, like forward and back, and adjust my cut, it was these old rusty.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like cranking this way. And now it's all in my cab. I just push a button. Aaron, to a high schooler that wants to start a business, what are you telling them?
Well, in this day and age, I'm telling two pieces of advice, and then I will expand on them. Look for the blue ocean, and jump both feet first.
Okay.
Blue ocean meaning, where is nobody else at? What is
Okay.
nobody else doing?
Okay.
What is something new you can bring to the table? So at 18, that's hard because you have no resources. You probably haven't had a lot of time to learn a lot about anything. But if you want to be in it for the long game, you want to build a name, you want to build a reputation off of a young hustler's back, find the blue ocean. Blue ocean meaning don't do what everybody else is doing, because then it just comes cutthroat. You know, who's doing it cheaper, who's doing it better, who has more references, yada, yada, yada. And then jump both feet first is like anything you do in life, you got to do it headstrong, and you got to do it 100%. It's like if you're going to do something, don't be doing it half. Like none of this dabbling stuff. Like go after it or don't. Or get it off the pot.
Yep.
Right? So I think when Adam first started his lawn care business a few years ago, there was much less young people starting lawn care businesses than right now.
Yep.
And I think it's significantly just exponentialized over the last 12 months. And
I think he's responsible for some of that.
yeah, I do too, because
Absolutely.
it's monkey see, monkey do. And
that's a compliment
yeah,
when you see people doing that.
I
by
think
the way.
people are inherently unoriginal, like I told you the other day.
Yep.
But like if I was a high schooler right now, I would definitely recommend not starting a lawn care business.
For sure.
Because now
Here,
there's
in our demographic.
in this
yeah.
scenario.
Yep,
Yes.
yep,
But
where we
if
live
you can
here.
just like stick your neck out a little bit and try and figure out something else that is available or not being done right now.
Yeah.
But also going back to my roots a little bit, if I can tell you what I did to get into the lawn care and landscaping business.
Yeah.
And this is some advice my dad gave me. He's like, the first person you're in the door with, whatever they ask you, don't say no. Say yes to everything they ask you to do. So it's a little contradictory to what I'm saying by go and find a blue ocean, because there's a lot of opportunity in just saying yes to people and figuring it out later. So like, you know, I had one client that I started with, and he said, say yes to everything. And even if you don't even know what you're doing or how to do it, call me, you know, whatever. He's like, so really that leads into now it's not what you know, it's who you know, because who I knew was my dad, who I knew had all the tools in his tool belt to pull stuff off. And he's like, we'll figure it out, whatever. But that built in me like this thing where it's like, I never said no to anybody once I got into the caretaking business. It was like I would do everything for these people, right? It's like, oh, can you stay in the deck? Can you drop my truck off? Oh, whatever. It's like, so always say yes too. Like if you're new and you don't even know where you're going and you have one person's attention, just say yes to whatever they want.
Yeah.
And maybe someday you never know where that's going to lead.
Exactly.
Because that person, you might have just said yes at the right time, where you end up working for them as your whole life, like singularly as their caretaker, or whatever. So that's my advice to a high school kid right now.
Yeah, and I like that last
Find
thing.
them blue ocean and jump both feet first.
Yeah. And I like that last thing, just say yes.
Yeah.
Especially right away. I mean,
And figure it out later.
figure out what you don't like.
As long
figure
as
out what
it's
you
like
do.
somewhat in your wheelhouse.
Right.
I mean, like these people weren't asking me to tile their floor.
Right.
And
right.
stuff.
Right.
But somewhat in your wheelhouse. So what's your 2 pieces of advice?
Both you guys really kind of said what I would say. I mean, never feel too small for a big dream.
Yeah.
Would definitely be what I would say. Like never feel too small for a big dream. No matter whether you come from money, you come from no money, whatever you dream and put your mind to, as cheesy as it is,
No,
you can
that's
do
not
it.
cheesy.
You can do it.
That is
man.
the best advice I've ever heard
Yeah.
repeatedly in my life.
Yep.
Is you can do whatever you put your mind to.
And it's so true.
My mom has told me that in every stage of my life.
Yes.
My mom's one of my biggest inspirations, as you
Yes,
can probably tell.
same.
But she is always, I had come up with a crazy idea and she would just say, not good, not bad. She said, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Yep.
And it's a proven fact.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like,
it really is.
If it's got enough of a fire burning in you that you're thinking about it and you can put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yep.
Fact.
Yep. So, and if you are young and you are listening to this, or if you're old and you're listening to this and you want to start a business and you're reaching some roadblocks or you don't know where to start, message us.
Mm-hmm.
Our email is attached to this video. That's our hotline.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on this video. If you have any questions for Adam, comment on this video.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get those questions to him and we'll get them answered.
And his lawn care business is still operating. So if you're
Yes.
in this local vicinity and you need lawn care, we will get you hooked up with AV.
For sure.
This guy's good, man. And he did say, let me ask you, were you picking up poop before my yard?
No.
He followed what you said.
Extra money.
Yeah. So we had dog poop. Can I pick up my own dog's poop? You bet your ass. Do I have time to pick up my dog's poop? Absolutely, I do. It was just another thing that I asked him that I knew nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to pick up dog poop.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just not, like scrub the toilet with a toothbrush. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
And he said yes. And he did it and he added to the price. And it was just another, you know what I mean? He followed our advice before we even gave it.
Did you ask him what it would cost, or did you say, can you pick up the poop? And he said yes.
I don't remember exactly how the conversation went. I think it was, do you do that? You said yes. And you said it'll be this much more or
Only
something.
like $5 extra.
Yeah.
Plus, it was Noah's job, so.
Delegating. That's
Yeah.
something you can do when you're in business. You can delegate.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
thank you so much, Adam,
Yes,
for
thank you,
coming
guys.
on. We really appreciate
We
you.
do, Adam. Thank
Yes.
you. It was fun having you as the first guest. On
The
our-
first guest
on
on
the
the tube, dude. I
tube.
tell you what, people are excited about this.
Mhm.
People are anxious about this. We're gonna get.
And we haven't we haven't even released a whole video yet.
I know, and people can't wait.
And this is the episode number 3. So people can't wait. We're excited to release it. We're excited to have Adam here. Hopefully his immense following starts following us because
Yeah,
of it.
and if it gets so popular, where so many questions about Adam, we might have to bring him back on for another
Yeah.
episode down the road.
Yeah. Can we
Check
can
on
we
you.
have that
Do-
Adam guy back?
Yeah, we might have to do like a 6-month college check-in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we might. And the night we go down for a game, we'll bring the setup
And
in his dorm.
Do it down there in his
In
dorm.
the dorm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have
We're
a
out.
beautiful night.
Come on, Adam.
Keep groovy with it.
See, he thinks
You
it
need
needs
the
a.
symbol.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah, it's messed up.
instinctively do that. And there's no symbol.
Dude.
So